Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Africa 24. The Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area is the guest of this other edition of Decryptage. With him, we discuss the current challenges facing intra-African trade, as well as AfCFTA's efforts to stimulate and strengthen trade within the continent. Mr. Wamkele Mene, welcome to Africa 24. Despite the establishment of the AfCFTA in January 2021, many African countries still face tariff and non-tariff barriers that limit the potential of intra-African trade. These barriers include high tariffs, complex customs procedures, and divergent standards. What are AfCFTA's priority initiatives and specific actions to break down these barriers and facilitate smoother trade in Africa?
Well, the elimination of trade barriers, tariffs or duties is actually over, member states agreed to do that over a 10-year period or 13-year period if you are a least developed country. So by year 15, the AfCFTA trading countries will be trading in goods 0%. 97% of our products that we will be trading in at that time, year 14, year 15, it will be at zero duty. Of course, what is always a challenge and an ongoing challenge is the elimination of non-tariff barriers, the beyond the border measures. And in any trade arrangement, this is always, you have to have an ongoing mechanism to solve non-tariff barriers. So these are the two different areas that we have to tackle at the same time. As I just said, the elimination of tariffs, of duties is the easiest part over a predetermined period. So we have to introduce tools for tackling non-tariff barriers, which we have the online non-tariff barrier mechanism, which is working. Companies report in accordance with the rules when they experience these non-tariff barriers. And we encourage governments to work together to resolve the non-tariff barriers.
The International Africa Development Forum plays a significant role in promoting economic exchanges and cooperation in Africa. How can this platform contribute to achieving the objectives of the free trade area?
What was very central over the last 2 days of discussions here is the role of the private sector. If we're talking about South-South cooperation, there's a framework of governments which is important, a political framework, economic cooperation framework, but there's also the other component, which is private sector participation across countries of the South or South-South cooperation, if that's what we want to call it. So the context is private sector driven, must be private sector driven, but the governments have a role to play, because the governments establish the frameworks that I mentioned, but governments don't trade. The private sector trades. It's the private sector that invests in innovation, in productive capacities. So we need to move together, the public sector and the private sector, to make sure that the South-South cooperation does indeed accelerate over the next 10 years. What we have seen in the context of the AfCFTA is that actually it does indeed provide the platform for the private sector in Africa, whether it is North Africa, Eastern Africa, Central Africa. We're seeing more and more private sector taking an interest in the work that we have to do.
At the 2024 edition of the International Africa Development Forum held on June 2024 in Casablanca, Morocco, you signed the partnership agreement with the Attijari Wafabon Group. What are the objectives of this partnership?
The objective of the partnership is to leverage on institutions such as Attijari Alpha Bank to make sure that they invest in value chains across the regions of the continent, value chains that will ensure that we have value-added production and trade in value-added goods. Second, we have a common vision on accelerating Africa's digital economy. This is the direction of the continent. Africa's economy is increasingly becoming a digital economy. And in particular, if you consider mobile banking, digital mobile banking solutions, agricultural technology-driven solutions. So a focus on digital economy is one of the priorities in our cooperation arrangement. And then, of course, there's issues related to market access, expansion of a commercial presence from the current 15 15 subsidiaries across 15 countries that Atija Rawafa Bank has. It's a Pan-African bank. ZLECAf offers the bank the opportunity to scale and to expand to beyond the 15 countries where it currently has a presence. And so it's a very important partnership for us, because it means that the private sector, as I mentioned yesterday, the private sector is a co-implementer of the AfCFTA.
According to experts, Morocco's foreign trade has grown significantly over the last 10 years, with a 15.8% increase in 2023. How do you see Morocco's contribution to the development of the African Continental Free Trade Area?
The economy of Morocco is well diversified. It's a well-diversified economy. It's integrated very well with the European Union. They have a trade agreement with the European Union, a trade agreement with the US, a trade agreement with Egypt, and that enables diversified export markets, and it enables Morocco to benefit from investment, which enables the exports that they have become competitive in the export areas. The benefit for that, for the AfCFTA, is that we have one of the countries that has a depth of market diversification, depth of industrial sophistication, to be one of the leading countries in exporting under ZLECAf. And so I think it is to the benefit of ZLECAf to have Morocco as an active participant and beneficiary country in ZLECAf. That's why we're here. That's why we've signed the MOU, for example, with Atija Rawafa Bank. We will come back in November for a discussion again with Export Promotion Agency of Morocco. So it is an important part, particularly in North Africa. But of course, the production structures of Morocco have been looking to Europe and are structured towards the European market. I think Morocco is now well poised to change that through ZLECAf, so that the production structures that are built also support trade under the AfCFTA rules.
In June 2024, AfCFTA Secretariat launched the Economic Employment of Women and Young People in the Fishing Industry program. What is the aim of this program?
It is inclusion. For us, inclusion of women and youth in the implementation of ZLECAf is very important, because these are the drivers of Africa's economy. Small, medium enterprises that are led by women, youth entrepreneurs. As we implement ZLECAf, we have to have them on board. Over 60% of jobs in Africa are created by small, medium enterprises. And that's why we have to have a platform where they are able to participate in ZLECAf, and they are able to make a contribution that will expand the possibilities for them. So this is why we have placed the priority on these two segments of Africa's economy. It is, of course, an ongoing objective of inclusion, and we have some examples of success stories already. We have AfCFTA trading companies that are led by women who are exporting already. So I think we've come a long way, but we have a long way to go.
Mr. Wamkele Mene, thank you for answering our questions. Dear televiewers, thank you all for following us. Catch your program on replay on MyAfrica24 and Africa24TV.com.